Something that's been going on through my messed up little head for some time. I want to say like maybe 5 years. And it's, am I too old for, and then insert whatever, Like house parties, for example. Am I too old for a house party? Is there an age when people your own age are not going to house parties anymore? They're going to someone's house for dinner or someone's house for brunch, Definitely not a house party, but something like a dinner turns into multiple bottles of wine being drunk and then cocktails. I think the last house party that I went to was maybe like 2 years ago, to a friend's going away party. But I want to say, I mean, I actually don't want to say, I want to say, but I don't want to say, I have to admit that maybe 60% of why I went to that house party was because it was literally down the street from my house, and 40% because of my friend who was leaving. It's just hard, like when you get to a certain age, motivators to get you out of the house are like, have to be quite big, right? Like the motivator is no longer becomes like, oh, I'm going to have so much fun and I'm going to see, maybe I'll meet all these new people. That would be cool. No, it's more like, how easy will it be for me to get home from this house party? And then also, have I become too old? Like, you also don't want to feel that you're too old to go to a house party. And so you go to said party, but then you spend maybe a good proportion of the night thinking about what you have to do tomorrow, how late can you stay without feeling the effects horribly the next day, and who am I going to meet? That really no longer is a thing once you hit a certain age. You're just thinking about what friends are there that you're going to talk to that you haven't seen for maybe a couple of weeks because you've got busier lives now than you used to. So house parties, is there a cutoff date? When do they become an inappropriate event to go to at a certain person's age? But another thing that's really been going on a lot in my mind is, am I too old to dress like this? I really remember when I was still a teenager, I think I was maybe 17, and I went shopping with my mum. And I really remember my mum. So my mum had me when she was 28. So she wasn't, super young, but she also wasn't old at all. And I remember going shopping with my mum, and my mum was looking for some clothes. And my mum was going through, obviously at that time, what I'm going through now, which is like still wanting to look good and look sexy and cool and all of that kind of stuff, but not have people look at you and be like, that's funny. The likelihood that anybody is going to look at you and literally laugh, unless you're really wearing an outrageous outfit of some kind. I don't know. I don't even know what to call outrageous when you live in Berlin, honestly, because nothing is outrageous. Nobody flinches at any outfit in Berlin. But what you don't want is people to have to do a double take because they were like, oh, I thought that was a skater boy. Turns out he's a 60-year-old man, which has happened to me not so long ago. There was a guy on my street and he was 20 meters ahead of me or 10 meters ahead of me, 20 meters. And I don't know if I would have seen him so clearly anymore. He was crossing the street and from behind, he was wearing a bomber jacket and a hoodie and loose jeans and sneakers and stuff in a stereotypical way. I thought this is a maybe 30-year-old guy or something, or 28-year-old guy. And then said guy turns around and you're like, oh, you're maybe 60. And it's like, cool, but it's a little bit, I mean, I'm going to be very honest and just say it. It was a bit like false advertising, and all power to him. That's when that's when you realize people can wear whatever they want, obviously there's not a question to that. But as a older person, you don't want someone to unwrap those sheets and then just be like, that's not what I thought it looked like under there, you know? Wait, I think I didn't ever actually finish that story about my mum. So when I was 17, my mum was like, you know, facing the dilemma that I am now, which is like still wanting to look cool and sexy but also being afraid of looking silly because it's like she's wearing something that's for younger people or whatever. And as a 17-year-old, I was like really wanting to 100% empower my mom and didn't think anything about age as a 17-year-old. So I was like, dude, don't be stupid, you know, just like wear what you want, wear those jeans, they're amazing, you look amazing, like all of that, you know. And that's what I think now as well, except now that I'm at the age of what my mum was then, I understand her a bit more. Like I understand the concept of I like what I like still when it comes to fashion, but doesn't mean that I fit into it or that clothing that I like still looks good on me, you know. Basically anything that's tighter fitting or lower cut on the hips is not going to be looking that good on me anymore in comparison to when I was in my 20s. But the irony is that when I was in my 20s, I had all these like different insecurities about my body that I kind of didn't use what I had when I had it, you know? So there's also that element. It's just like, if you got it, rock it, you know, don't think twice about it. That's what I really think. And I was having this conversation with a friend of mine the other day where she was going through the same thing. She was like, just bought these new jeans and she looks great in them. She looks amazing. And the jeans are really, really cool. And she then like proceeded to go into her whole internal dialogue that she'd been having about like whether she can pull these jeans off, whether she can pull this look off, like whether she's just like too old to be wearing this sort of stuff. And as her friend, I was like, no, they're amazing. You look great. There's no reason why you shouldn't be wearing these. So like from the outside looking in, I've never really come across a moment where I've thought like, dude, what are you doing? That this look is not for you. You know, you should like maybe dress a little bit closer to your age. Like never have I had that thought when it's been a family member of mine or like a friend of mine or anything like that. Why can it not sink in then on the flip side of that? I wore an outfit maybe a few months ago and it was the first time in a while that I was like, I don't think that this is an appropriate outfit for my age. Like, and it was, I'll explain the outfit. So I was wearing like one of these grungy oversized printed tee, a pleated mini skirt and tights and boots, like knee-high boots, like motorcycle boots. It was like a cute look, but I do really, really, really remember going, this is absolutely the last time in your life that you will be able to wear this, because also you just don't feel comfortable. Like I'm getting that I'm a bit too old for who the image of this person who wears this stuff belongs to, you know? And that's just an interesting idea itself, that certain looks belong to an image of a certain age range or person. That you're dressing now not just into stereotypes of subgroups of culture and society, but you're also ascribing these looks to age brackets. When you put all of that out there, even more so you go like, then fuck this, I can't wear this, I can't wear that, you know? Like I can wear whatever the hell I want for as long as I want. Okay, I want to do a poll, and I'm going to put up 2 photos of Drew Barrymore, one in her 20s and one of her now. So I just had to look up to see how old Drew Barrymore is. And Drew Barrymore is now 50 years old. Okay, so my question is, if Drew Barrymore wore this Canadian tuxedo look today and went back to her grunge girl roots at age 50, would that be appropriate? Or would you think, yeah, you look amazing, Drew. I love this look for you. Or would you look at what she's wearing in this second photo, which I also don't think is like a bad look or anything, this sort of orange suit that she's wearing. It's got flares, it's got like a bit of spunk and everything. She still looks very cool, but it's honestly, actually, this photo, I don't think she's 50 in this photo. I think she looks a bit younger to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, this is a cool suit, right? Like, but it's more age appropriate. It's not the double denim, like Canadian tuxedo. There's no grunginess. These like earrings that she's like, they look like they're wooden paneled earrings. Like, she's got a bit of the hippie mom alternative Frau vibe to her still, so she's still staying true to her roots, but in a different way, in a transformed Drew in her early 40s kind of way, you know? Maybe another photo of Drew. Okay, this, you can't even see her outfit. You can only see her face. This must be like a makeup tutorial or something like that. But this is looking to me like Drew at 50. Very different vibe, you know? Like, appropriate. I think a lot of people would be like, that blouse, that necklace. I would, if I'm going to stereotype, I would be like, she looks like a therapist that's in her 50s. Still got a creative edge to her. She's a bit alternative, but you know, she's settled. She's got a family. She's got kids. She's got a career. It's going in that direction. Or this photo. Oh my God. I'm not into this at all. I don't know whether she chose this. I think this is like for a magazine or something, clearly. So I'm not going to say that this is an outfit chosen by Drew, but I think she's at the point of her career at least where she has to like okay what others want to dress her in. So she must have like okayed this look, and yeah, you know, this is different. This is not a person wearing a leather jacket, 80s pants, bleach blonde hair, red lipstick, or bell-bottom jeans, her midriff showing. You know, this is like a very different lady. And I still prefer, I mean, the double denim, I love a double denim look because I'm just like obsessed with cowboys. So, you know, I'm like, rock this look forever, people. Like, you know, this is a classic. This in itself is just a classic. So like if you, no matter what age you are, you could be like a 60-year-old woman, wear an oversized jacket and jeans, you're going to look great. It's more like the moments midriff showing, the bell-bottom tighter pants, that you know why a 50-year-old woman isn't wearing, unless she's really like comfortable with what is socially deemed as ugly, actually, you know, like being overweight, having cellulite, all of that stuff is considered to be ugly socially. So like if you want to change those standards, then by all means go for it, you know, like and wear that. But it's hard. It's really hard. It's hard to sort of put yourself out there in a way that you might be like, I don't care. This is just who I am. We still want to be seen as attractive as we age. And this is why the substance was like just such a hit, you know, because it was dealing with the topic of like, what happens to women when they hit 50 and they start aging and they basically become undesirable and not profitable, and therefore they just like put in the trash. And yeah, like so then there's the pressure to be skinny, to get work done on your face and on your body, or not doing any of that, aging gracefully, but noticing as you age how less people look at you, for example, you know, or not aging gracefully, not doing any work, but just letting yourself go and falling into a depression. Or I don't want to say that everybody who lets themselves go, and by letting yourself go, I mean you like pack on a bunch of weight and stuff, but it's more the whole like your priorities change. The part of your brain that values your enjoyment, so meaning if your enjoyment is coming from eating that packet of biscuits, then maybe you're just like, I don't care that my ass is fat and I can't wear the same clothes that I did when I was 20 anymore. I really love these biscuits, and I love like laying on the couch and watching a great show and having a glass of wine, like this is like what brings me joy. And life is too short to be doing things that don't bring you joy. There's probably more categories than this, but this is sort of like the three main options that you seem to have. Personally, I feel like I'm dipped my toe into each one of those categories, minus the one where you get plastic surgery and stuff done to your face and to your body. That's a whole other, I think, podcast topic in itself about plastic surgery, Botox, filler, all of that sort of jazz. I don't know if I have that much to say about it because I've never considered it personally. I honestly feel a little bit embarrassed to do anything to my face. I don't want to be so narcissistic, I guess. Like at least openly laying my cards on the table, saying to others, I value looks. Because you do, like, in order to get stuff done to yourself, in order to look better, you're basically, in my opinion, at least partially saying, I value aesthetics, I value good looks. And that's why I'm doing this and this and this to my face, because I place value on these things. I'm like honestly embarrassed to lay that out there. Like even if I do place value on looks to a certain degree, I appreciate beauty of others and my own, I do, but I just, like, for example, my whole life, like I'm such a Kylie Jenner in this way. I've been really insecure about my lips because I have small lips, and small lips are not the vibe. In the last 20 years, basically, small lips have not been the vibe. There's been a different aesthetic to, say, the 1920s when small lips were all the rage. That was what the look was then. But that changed, and it is not a thing. It is like not really considered to be attractive. Like people are like not complimenting on how nice somebody's lips are when they're kind of thin, smallish lips, They might not consider them ugly per se or anything like that, but it's just not a feature that someone's going like, those tiny little lips of yours, like they look so good. Yeah, so anyway, I've always been insecure about that. I always thought that maybe, even proportionally to my face, if my lips were just a tiny bit fuller, it would look better. But am I going to inject filler into my lips at this point in my life? I'm tempted. Like the answer is I'm tempted, but the other answer is that's ridiculous. Like really at this age, you're going to put filler into your lips. And honestly, I am embarrassed about my friends seeing that I've clearly done something and then either having to lie. Like how do you lie? Like it's just so clear. Like you're either just then being like, this person's not owning up to what they've done. Interesting, noted about them, or you come clean, but then you just have to wear the stigma of the fact that you are in. I don't know. Like I honestly do think that that's like being like wearing a bit of a red flag on yourself, going like, I'm an insecure person who needed to get this done in order to feel better about myself. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Like I kind of see both sides to this. Like I think in the similar way with plastic surgery as in with clothing, I believe that people should do what is right for them as long as they are emotionally and mentally stable. And if it keeps them balanced and well, then, why not? Like that's like up to everyone what they do. Yeah, there's just a side of me that when it's just for purely aesthetic reasons, so it's not like you feel like you're not in the right skin or because you've had like a horrible accident or something. When it's purely, I feel like I would look prettier or I would look better if I did this. Like, I don't know, I get a little bit sad because I think like ultimately there's many things in life beyond aesthetics, physical aesthetics that you can't just change like that, like you have to like sort of accept them and you have to be able to be okay with them. Death being a big one, I don't know if there's many other examples, but like that's the ultimate one, right? You can't really change that. so much. You can slow certain things down or whatever, but there's like an ultimate acceptance that needs to occur. Or I just went, I just did a corner. I took a left turn right now on this conversation and went super sad and I don't want to say dark. I'm not going to go dark. I don't want to go dark. Okay, guys. But like suddenly it's a real, we've gone to real existential town on this, and with death being the ultimate thing that you can't change and you need to accept. But it's kind of true, like, so is it really, my point I guess that I'm coming to is like, is it really helping us to change what we can whilst ultimately needing to learn the bigger lesson of not being able to change life itself? Is it helping or harming? That's a question in itself, right? Like, is it actually harming someone to be like living a life where there's many things that they can change? So, for example, imagine if you're like really rich and famous and money is just no obstacle for you, right? So like Kylie Jenner, that woman has done so much to her face and body because she's got so much money. She's got the means. Every insecurity that she ever had physically, she has been able to craft it into a way that she feels comfortable with and better about herself. Likewise with many other aspects, like I think ultimately what we can't change though is family. We can't change partners. We can choose who we get into relationships with, but if these loves or partnerships don't work out, there is no plastic surgery for that. There's therapy for that. There's inner work of your own in order to accept things as they are for that. But again, that's the lesson that you learn. It's just like you can't change certain things. You can't change other people. You can change yourself. Mentally and emotionally, how you respond to things, but that's a whole other realm to a surgical knife and plastic surgery that is more akin to taking a painkiller to relieve pain rather than like doing the deep work it requires you in order to be able to process relationships, family life, family dynamics, and ultimately things like death. You just can't, the only way out is through. And I think like that's maybe, I've never even maybe thought about it as deeply as I am now, but I think that maybe behind all that is why I will probably never get filler. And I don't think I will ever do Botox or anything like that. I mean, I feel like I'm setting myself up right now. Like, it's just like, I am recording this. So this is like in the digital books now. But because ultimately, I don't know whether it will be doing me good. Like it probably could do me some temporary good because I feel more attractive and then I'm radiating like a vibe that like other people are like, ooh. And then I think it's because of the work that I've done, but it's more actually like because of the vibe that I have about myself now. And it's like other people are like, who's that person? La la la. And then the other thing is that then I'm like kind of a slave to it. So like if it does make me feel so much better and basically like less sad and more confident, and then that affects other areas of my life and my relationships in a positive way, now I'm like a slave to it. Now like there's like, when is the end? And then now suddenly do I have to continue doing Botox and putting filler in my face and like whatever to my body so that I can keep up the benefits that I've gotten from this? I guess it's no different to like medicine. I'm just thinking about being on antidepressants or being on any other form of medication, psychological medication for anxiety and stuff like that. It's really necessary sometimes, but I think a lot of people have fear about going on antidepressants or going on anti-anxiety medication because they don't want to get hooked. It is a bit of a problem. Like it's not like, I mean, that's why you need to see a therapist basically in order to get prescribed antidepressants. But yeah, I guess the fear is always like a little bit getting off them and whether the effects will remain even when you're not on them, or whether you will be sort of dependent on this forever. Yeah, tough. Like, it's a tough call, I think, definitely a tough call. Maybe it's not really any different to that, because like there's obviously like a lot of work to your life that you need to be doing in order to sort of potentially not be dependent on this medication for the rest of your life. Similarly to if you do any sort of like alterations to your appearance and you want to keep up the feelings that you got from that, which is like just feeling maybe a bit more bearable of an existence, that there's other stuff that you might need to be doing as well in order to maybe like be okay with yourself and who you are and how you look without any more plastic surgery or whatever, Yeah. So that's that. That's a really long story time basically that I went on there. And then there's other things like career. When do you like switch paths, or when do you pivot, let's say, and give up your dreams of being an artist or being a creative and, start studying and become a programmer or a therapist or a healthcare worker or, whatever? When is the time? Well, is there a cutoff time? I find talking about this so annoying somehow, because it's always like, that the answers everybody's going to be like, no, there's never a time. You can be an artist forever. There's no cutoff times, It's just like, okay, I know. But I've talked about this in the past, and it's just like money, it doesn't make or break everything, but at some point you may just not want to struggle anymore financially, and it's really hard to make ends meet in this society as an artist, because our culture does not still value creativity and artists as it should. That's just sort of like a fact. And it's also kind of a fact that at some points in time in our lives, we start to crave stability maybe more, and we start to want to be able to go on a trip to Japan, or we also say to ourselves like, well, it's not like the only interest in my life has ever been making videos. I have other passions. I have other interests. What are they? And then you're like, okay, this is my passion. This wasn't something that I was interested in always. But then, it's a big deal. I think it's a big deal to sort of pivot, because you feel like if you give up on your once dreams, or even like just your reality of what you did for the last 10 to 15 years of your life, and go into being a computer programmer, for example, you can't help but feeling like there's some sort of aspect of defeat. And that's not a good feeling. Like, never a good feeling to feel like you failed or you were defeated in something. And I think you kind of what we do is we counterbalance that with, I am genuinely interested in this. Hopefully, that's for myself. I'm just speaking personally here. So I need to sort of counterbalance that somehow. And the way that I counterbalance it is by going I also really enjoy this. I have a genuine interest in this. This is something else that I could see myself doing. But the defeat, or the what was it all for, only to get to the point that I am now and then completely change direction. It's hard. It's a hard moment to get to. And I'm there. That's actually where I feel like I am right now. I'm struggling to let go of my past, navigate myself into the next sort of chapters of my life, because I don't know what that really looks like. I feel like I never looked so far ahead before. I'm quite a go with the flow ultimately kind of person. Okay, I'm going really, really deep with everything here, but this is me. This is, if you enjoy these kind of deep dives into existentialism and questions, then this is the place for you. If you don't, you probably switched off a long time ago anyway. I hope you enjoyed this podcast and these ramblings, and I hope you're doing well. Moody Monday, every Monday with a moody new topic. Sending you lots of love.